Petworking is presented by Maya Strategy Group, a leading market research and strategy consulting firm, helping clients in the pet care and animal health industries navigate strategic challenges for almost 2 decades. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petworking. I'm Peter Kenseth, Vice President and Partner at Maya Strategy Group, and here today with a show that I didn't think we would ever have when I started this podcast, but we are going to be talking to a personal dog chef who has transitioned over from the human food world. I'm thrilled to be joined by Caroline Artiss of Holistic Dog Chef. Prior to becoming a personal dog chef for clients in Los Angeles and hopefully soon other parts of the world, Caroline was in the human food end of the spectrum and worked as an executive chef for restaurants in London's Heathrow Airport, and then opened her own restaurant in Santa Monica. And like many of us, when COVID hit, pet became an increasingly bigger part of her life. And through a series of stops that we'll get to in the course of the episode, she's now arrived at Dog Chef, where she is cooking bespoke meals for clients in Los Angeles, and is also going to be starting a dog cooking show, building off her experience doing cooking shows in the human food realm. So I'm really excited. I think this will be a great discussion about pet nutrition and a slightly different side of the pet nutrition spectrum than we've previously examined. So I'm thrilled to have Caroline on the show. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Petwork.
Oh, thank you, Peter. No, it's a real pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me on.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think your story is really cool. And like I said, probably one of the more unique and interesting stories that we've had the chance to tell on the show.
Excellent.
So I know I gave a little bit of a synopsis there, but maybe tell everybody, a little bit about your background, working as a chef, your previous cooking shows, and how you came to abandon cooking in restaurants for people and now are cooking in people's homes for their dogs.
That's right. Yeah, no, I mean, I never thought I would be in the pet industry or in the pet world. I've been in the human food world all my life since I was like 15. So a long time now. Like over a quarter of a century. I was counting back. And it was great. I've done all sorts of things and been all over the world. And I had a great restaurant at London Heathrow with 3 other female chefs. It wasn't just me. And that was, gosh, a long time. Well, that was at least about 10 years ago. Anyway, we were voted #1 airport restaurant in the world. So really exciting stuff. And basically COVID hit. Unfortunately, took that business out because that was food and travel, so totally gone. And then I had a very small bespoke business in Santa Monica, which was a gourmet fries business because I love my chips, and I would make all my own sauces. So we just had that right by the pier. It was like a little thing, a lot of work, little thing. Again, that closed, and I was just so heartbroken. It's just so much work goes into if you're starting your own, especially in the restaurant world. It's a lot of hard work. And I was kind of stressed, had some like health related stress issues. And I just I want to go and live in the mountains, hang out with dogs, and just not talk to anyone for a while. So that was kind of my plan. And then a friend introduced me to someone who had just started a fresh dog food company. And they were actually based up in the Santa Monica mountains. So I was like, oh, okay, dogs, mountains. Yes, I think I should do that. And
it's with what you wanted to do.
Right. I know. I was like, okay. So it obviously, it was a new industry, but I knew food. I knew fresh food. Fresh food is all I know. And also nutrition. So I had studied nutrition for humans. But it was just really fascinating. I think it was meant to be because I definitely I've been finding it more rewarding, I think, helping the animals out for now, because after speaking to the vets and all our kind of consultants and stuff, and just finding out what is going on the nutrition side for pets with the just, I think, lots of bigger brands and just stuff. Food is evolving, and I think there were some ingredients that were not really suitable for any living thing that were being put into pet foods and stuff. So and just hearing this really shocked me, because I was surprised. I didn't know that was happening. So I wanted to just stay and kind of do whatever I can, really, just to help build awareness, or just even help developers with, hey, here's a new recipe, because I do develop recipes. So that's something that excites me as well.
I definitely to you about that as we go on here, and I'm sure our listeners will appreciate any recipes you're able to share. But so, Caroline, tell me, now you're a chef, you're in the restaurant industry, you're the number one airport restaurant in the world, you're running a fries business, COVID hits. I'm assuming, a pet parent at that point. That's kind of what drove you to say, hey, I just want to go up into the mountains with my dogs, right?
Actually, so I didn't have a pet at the time. I was actually everyone. No, so I was actually all my friends' dog sitters. So basically they were like, please don't get a pet, because then you're not going to be able to look after our dogs for us or cats or anything. No, I didn't. So I moved to America about 10 years ago, and that was for work and some cooking show stuff and some books. And I had a daughter, so I'm a single mom, daughter, teenager, did not get any pets. I had pets growing up, and we had a pet who passed away sadly in England before we left. But so I've only now, just this year, had my first pets. So
wow, very cool. So love of dogs, and you're caring for everybody else's dogs. And now, what was the cooking show that you were doing here in California? And I know you're going to be launching a dog cooking show, but obviously the experience translates. Tell us about your human cooking shows, and then maybe what we can expect on the whole. Is it going to be called the Holistic Dog Chef Show?
Actually, so I'm excited about the cooking show for pets, because obviously my background has been in doing cooking shows. Like, I just love teaching people how to cook. And that's kind of how I got started. I'd started a YouTube cooking channel a really long time ago in London. And I just filmed that myself, edited it myself. Wasn't great quality, but people enjoyed my recipes. They were simple and just easy to follow. So I just want to use kind of that, I guess, that background and what brought me to America, and now translate it into pet parents who want to make something for their own pets at home. It's more affordable. And also it will be a channel where everybody is welcome. So for all, whether you feed just fresh, or whether you feed kibble but want something fresh to put on top, it's just going to be something for everybody there, and everyone's welcome. And I will be doing cat recipes. And who knows, if enough people want to have a guinea pig food recipe, I will ask my vet nutritionist for one. So, it's going to be.
I'm glad you brought up the vet nutritionist, because I think that really cool component of your offering. I think it's great that people are going to be able to, obviously you're based in the LA area. You're not be coming out to Vermont to cook for Peony anytime soon, but I am excited to get some recipes and change up her diet. And I think like you said, there's this trend, and I think you saw it in the aftermath of COVID. Around that same time, we really saw more and more people leaning into the fresh food. And I know when we talked earlier, you mentioned, it was a really hard market to compete in, because everybody started coming out with it went from just the farmer's dog and Jeff's Food for Dogs and Ollie and Nom Nom and a lot of the other D2C businesses, to Stella and Chewy coming out with a fresh frozen, Wellness coming out with a fresh frozen, Blue Buffalo dabbled in it with an exclusive with Walmart. Anybody who was anybody in the pet industry. We have a friend who's making an appearance.
Come here. Come on, baby. Oh, you're getting shy now. He was making an appearance. Sorry, I've got lots of puppies.
Good.
Oh no, they're all coming. I'll just
Excellent.
leave it down here. You can half see
Excellent.
me.
Good.
They're more
Good.
fun to watch.
Good.
Okay.
But yeah. So I know you said you were with Migos, and that was a really hard market to compete in. But
Yeah.
sort of started training your dog nutrition sensibilities and marrying those with your expertise as a chef. But were you with Migos? Were you working with vet nutritionists there, or did you start to bring those in when you transitioned to doing the holistic dog chef and the home dog chef program?
So I did, yeah. So basically, I started with Migos. We did obviously have vet nutritionists in, and I think any good dog food brand needs to be honest. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so that was, and I found that really interesting talking to them, and that's when I kind of got more invested because I was like, whoa, all this stuff is happening, and there are lots of there's a lot of people just doing kind of like these nonprofit just studies now. Just a lot more. There's a lot more study and research going into dog food in general, which is good. It's good that
Absolutely.
the industry is moving in this way. But yes, when Migos closed, then I still wanted to work with dogs and cats, and so I thought, I'll just have to go out on my own. Didn't have enough money to start my own dog food brand. So I thought, there's enough people here, and there was enough kind of demand, I guess, for having a bespoke diet. And maybe it's only in Los Angeles, it could be. But
I don't know. I mean, I think when we first talked about this, I was really taken by it because we've seen individualized diets in the industry. Not a ton of people are aware of it, but Royal Canin, which is a brand I think everybody is familiar with, I think back in like 2021, they started a program in Europe called Individualis, where you would go to your vet, you'd bring your dog in for an exam, the vet would do a comprehensive exam, put all their findings plus your dog's age, weight, breed, everything into an algorithm, and it would spit back an individualized formula. And they had the manufacturing capability to do like 10,000 different permutations,
that's
so
amazing.
that you would get like a truly individualized, custom run diet for your dogs. And I haven't seen it explode. The last time I think I checked in on it, it had made it to the US, but it was in
Wow.
maybe 34 clinics. But that was
Okay.
back earlier this year in like February. I haven't seen if
Interesting.
they've further expanded it. But on the flip side, um, you know, people who are having you come into their home, you're obviously looking at their dog, seeing what breed it is, seeing age, weight, any health conditions, and then with your service, you then go out to your veterinary nutritionist for every client, or are you consulting with them with the nutritionist for every client that you work with, or do you just consult with them on like the basic nutritional standards and then you go to the home and one-on-one with the client?
So that's a good question. And I have kind of like I've got a set of like a menu of just basic recipes, my popular recipes, which if the dog's healthy, happy, no issues, tries that out, then we don't really need the vet nutritionist in then because they're already complete and balanced diets. But the vet nutritionist, and it's entirely up to the client, really. It's like we can have a consultation with the vet anytime they want. But generally, if there is any medical conditions, then it's an absolute must. You must consult your vet, and I'm happy to speak to their vets and to introduce the vet nutritionist in. So just so that everyone's on the same page. But medical conditions, yeah, you can't mess around with that stuff. It's not. I don't.
Wow.
It's like no, I'm the chef, right? And I know a lot about dog nutrition, but this is why I've teamed up with vet nutritionists and other vets. And there are so many more now that are beginning to realize, hey, actually, you know what? Real food, good diets, just like for humans, really does help with health, just in general, right? So it makes
I
sense. And
mean,
Yeah,
it all goes back to Hippocrates, right? Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be
exactly.
thy food, right? Um,
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool that you have the connection with the nutritionist, because that it's not, I think people trust their vet more than almost any other source for a dietary recommendation. But um, for most vets, nutrition covers such a small component of
Mm.
the veterinary curriculum.
Yeah.
And to become a board certified veterinary nutritionist is an advanced certification
Yeah.
specialization. And I think there's only 200 take in the entire United States. So the fact that
Yes.
you've developed that relationship and partnership with vet nutritionists, I think is really cool, especially for a bespoke service.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think, and you're right. I think the paradigm around what we're seeing with dog nutrition, cat nutrition is shifting. I mean, we are seeing more and more studies. We had James Templeman of Primal Pet Foods on last year. They've just published, 3 papers in the Journal of Animal Sciences talking about the benefits of raw and freeze-dried
Great. Yeah.
diets and minimally processed diets. And it makes sense when you think about it. I don't want to villainize kibble. I understand for a lot of people, you know, it's convenient, it's cost effective.
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't think any manufacturers that of kibble are out there trying to hurt dogs. I think we're all
No,
in this to try to make life better, and they're adding
absolutely.
minerals and things like that. But
Mhm.
it also at the same time, we're looking at it from a perspective of you eat process. I I think of the farmer's dog commercial. It's like no living being should eat processed food for every meal of their life.
Yeah.
And I think there's truth to that, but there's a lot of different ways you can go about that. You can get a subscription to a farmer's dog, or an Ollie, or Nom Nom and Just Food for Dogs are available in stores now. Or there's lots of options in the fresh frozen category, freeze dried, air dried, steam
Mhm.
dried. We keep seeing this increasing prevalence of towards minimally processed diets that are popping up more and more. But you know, just like in human nutrition, it's a little bit more niche than mainstream at this point. I think you need people that are conscious and focused on their nutrition and on their pets' nutrition, um, to really buy into that. But clearly, you're seeing that there is a market for it. You're able to run a business in LA, going into people's homes. Talk to How many people do you have subscribed to your service, and are there any big famous names that you can share of celebrities that you're cooking for? Who is market for holistic dog chef?
Well, so because I've only just started, and there is only one of me, so it's a very I'm a small business. I really only have a handful of clients right now. I can actually I've had one project finished, so I can take on a couple more. But it's right now it's that much of a personal service. And Alison Eastwood, she's amazing. She's been having the dog food for a while now. I'm going to start making her cat food as well. And yeah, she actually does so much work herself in the pet world. She's just opened her own adoption center. It's called the Eastwood Ranch Foundation. That's in Agora Hills. So yeah, she's an amazing lady. She's just saved like thousands and thousands of dogs. So yeah. So she's someone I love to talk about. And there's some Hollywood movie directors, and I don't know, hopefully there'll be some more along the way. So yeah, I'm in the right town, I
Very
guess,
cool.
for
Yeah,
bespoke services.
I'd
So
say that there's probably a good amount of disposable income in Hollywood.
yeah.
What? But I remember, when we were talking, and when we met at Super Zoo and when we followed up after the conference, you were telling I was kind of surprised it's not exorbitantly expensive. What, on average, what does one of your clients pay for the service?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm quite reasonable. So they for a small dog, like we're talking like a 10-pound dog or so, it'd be like $500 a month ish. But if a client said, I only want to feed filet steak with the finest like duck fat and all that kind of stuff, then hey, that's going to be a lot more. So a lot of it really is just like, obviously I'll just charge for my time, and then it's just ingredients and sourcing the right ingredients. Some people want all organic, some people are not as not as fast. So it really does depend on that. But I mean, some of the dogs here are definitely eating better than us humans, probably eating better than me. It's more complete and balanced than my diet. So I have an 80-20 rule. So
Well, I mean, you have to be able to splurge and treat yourself a little bit. And,
yeah, exactly.
but yeah, no, I mean, when you think about it, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money to spend on feeding your dog. I mean, particularly when, for a 10-pound dog, you could probably feed kibble and get away with like less than $50 a month. But at the same time, if you average that out to a cost per day, that's, what, 16 $16 and change per day in terms of what you're paying to feed your pet. Um, and I mean, that's definitely not something I think everyone can aspire to. But
Yeah.
If you were to feed exclusively fresh frozen, the farmer's dog, something like that, I know I've looked into Peenie's 70 pounds, so I don't know what it would cost to feed her on a bespoke diet for a month. But I know I've looked into the farmer's dog for her exclusively. I'd be well over 300 a month if I were to do that.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a cost that goes into feeding. And I know we had Dr. Greg Aldrich from Nulo. He's their COO, and he was on a couple times actually. But his first one, he made the point that on average, people are saying like around $2 a day to feed their pets, and we talk about pets being a member of the family, but at the same, I guarantee you, none of us are spending $2 a day to feed our kids.
Right.
So, and obviously, there's everybody's in their own economic situations, and you have to prioritize where you're going to spend your money. But I've definitely kind of, since having that conversation, Dr. Aldrich thought about like, okay, uh, you know, if I'm investing a little bit more in the quality of Peony's food, am I also probably investing in, her being having, we're going to be spending less on vet bills. Ultimately, I'm hopefully going to be getting more time with her because, there are studies that we've just been doing some research on the freeze-dried market for one of our clients at Maya, and it's opened my eyes to some studies that I didn't know existed. That feeding freeze-dried actually there's some projections, and we could start to see, you know, 20 years being an average lifespan for some dogs, and maybe smaller 30 years. I haven't seen those studies yet, so I don't want to go banking and saying that that's gospel. But in some of the conversations we've had with some experts in the freeze dried market, they've teased that, and it's it's plausible if we're if we're thinking up until now the standard was processed, and all of a sudden we're shifting the nutritional paradigm. I would think it makes sense that you're, just like with humans, you're going to start to see extended lifespan with dogs.
Absolutely.
And
I was going to say, it just, as a non-doctor person, it just makes sense to me. It's just like, what the farmer's dog said, it's, if you feed dry food or processed food every single day, it's like, I kind of relate it to me being like, okay, if I was just to eat crackers or just McDonald's every day, like I'm probably not going to live as long. So and we're made up of the same stuff as, I mean, we're not biologically the same, but actually they are flesh and blood and bones, and they have organs like we have organs, and they have all the same kind of systems that we have, but obviously their digestive tract has different different levels of everything in there because they're dogs and they can digest many more things than we can. But you think, okay, well, they're kind of made up of kind of the same stuff that we are. So really, like, I don't know, on a cellular level, and I'm like, I am no scientist or doctor, it's just some common sense I'm
Oh,
thinking.
I was a good student in science in high school and college, but I went the business route. I feel like I know enough to be dangerous when it comes to science, and I know how to read and interpret studies. I don't pretend to be a doctor, but again, it does make sense, and
Yeah.
you know you hear are. I mean, the evolution of dogs and humans, it goes hand in hand. Like they evolved with us. And there's lots of studies out that show that people who have dogs are healthier, that
Yeah.
that kids that grow up with dogs get sick less often. And a lot of that, again, this is conjecture, but I would think there's probably some, you know share, sharing of the environment, and having dog germs around you that
Yeah.
enhances your gut microbiome, and vice versa. And yeah, I mean, I think you just look at we advances in nutrition, advances in medicine, both on the human side and on the pet side. It is going to result in healthier, longer living people and pets,
And
assuming
pets.
you
Yeah.
yourself. I mean, we
100%.
had Loyal for Dogs on, um, and Dr. Brennan McKenzie on another episode where, um, they're actively working on a therapeutic to increase the lifespan of dogs, and we're seeing,
Really? Oh, wow.
NA, yeah, it's in trial right now, and I'm hoping they said it might be available next year, which would be great because Peony turns 10 in December, and we can, my goal is I'd love for her to live forever. And I think that, that's what everybody wants for their dogs and
Yeah.
their cats. You want as many years as possible with them, but you also want them to be good years. And,
Yeah.
so we've also, we've had, leap years. That was the first episode of Petworking that we did. It's an NAD precursor, and to kind of boost cellular health and longevity. Zesty Paws also came out with one of those. So I, I think it's all kind of moving in the same direction. And I think as people realize, like, okay, I might have to spend a little bit more, but it's going to result in me getting more time with this
Yeah.
creature that I consider family, that I consider a kid in some ways.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. No, and I think,
but
oh, go on. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was going to actually just say that's like all of that stuff you just said is it's like exactly, excuse me, exactly why I wanted to start my channel, the cooking show for dogs, just so that, like I said, whatever whatever you choose to feed your dog, I'm going to be just all about different ways that you can add in real food to your diet, because, dogs used to live off the scraps. I think that they were actually very healthy then as well, because it was all real food, at least the scraps are real food. So I think it's that, I think we're on a bit of a curve right now, is what I've heard, is that there's going to be a lot more coming out. There's going to be a lot more awareness. And just like it did with human food, exactly the same as you said, people, they
I've been
want best for themselves. And now they're realizing it's the same thing works in the body with the dogs as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been consulting in this industry for over 15 years now, and I would say the biggest truism you can apply to pet food is if there is a trend in human food, you can count on it showing up in pet food at
Yeah.
some point.
Oh.
And maybe not necessarily from like a gourmet
Mhm.
culinary, we're not, I don't think we're at the point of, and maybe you'll set the trends, but I don't think we're at the point of having a Ferran Adria for dog food yet. But we're not at molecular economies. Right now, we're kind of introducing the idea of, hey, you can craft a bespoke meal for your dog, or you can have Caroline come in home and do it for you. But I think one of the things I see, is another huge benefit to, both your in-home service and your cooking show is, and you kind of alluded to it with the scraps, is that, the idea of the rotational diet. Because I think that's the other thing that people miss out on is that, it's not just, okay, we don't want to necessarily be feeding exclusively processed foods. We we also, if you're feeding your dog the same thing every day, not only is it probably boring, we don't eat the same things every day. But it's also, there's a lot of studies out there that show the benefit of exposing your dog to different proteins and exposing your dog to different vegetables, because you're getting different vitamins, different minerals, different enzymes, different amino acids,
Mhm.
and it's interacting with their gut in a different way, and so you're better you know boosting their immune system than if you just give them the same
Yeah.
diet every day. It's exposed, and they're probably going to have deficiencies in some way, shape, or form. And I think we're still really early in our understanding of the microbiome. There's tons of
Mm.
research going on with it, but
Yeah. It's
I think
big.
as people, we get more and more into this idea that gut health equals better health. Um, what you put in is a big part of how
Exactly.
healthy your microbiome is, and how
Yeah.
healthy you are as a person, how
Mhm.
capable, or as a dog, um,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
able you are to withstand disease. And then there's certainly the advantage of the same thing every day. So maybe I'm a little bit more excited when I go to my bowl. Talk to us a little bit. I know you talk, your recipes on the show, and what are some of your standbys? What are some, maybe you can give us, you know, something that's quick and easy, a few things that people could introduce, at their home, to spice up their dog's, or cat's bowl.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, well, you know what? Seeing as Thanksgiving is coming up, we can talk turkey for a little bit.
Great.
um,
Yeah.
so, like, okay, yeah. So, a good turkey is a great meat, a great protein for dogs. It's lean. It's often used for dogs with allergies because it's hypoallergenic, and it's easier to digest. So those are some good benefits of turkey. And to make, let's say, for instance, I am going to do recipes that are complete and balanced. So they will be like vet nutritionist approved, and it will just make sure that you're feeding. If you do a complete and balanced diet, your dog has all the right nutrients. And I think it is wise to follow one that has been developed or checked off as well with a vet nutritionist, because you just want to make sure you're ticking off all the areas, the fats, the vitamins, the proteins, the carbs. Sorry, I have 5 puppies here, by the way, so it gets a bit noisy. I hope it's not too loud.
No, you're, I think, the first guest that's actually brought us onto the show. So yeah,
Oh, well, okay, great. Well, this is
yeah, yeah.
yay, it's your
Thank you.
debut. This
Who's this that we have with us right now?
This is Pip. Now, Pip and her sister I was fostering. And I think I'm like an epic foster fail now, because it turned out that Pip was actually pregnant when I picked her up. No one knew because she's so tiny. And she's had 3 amazing puppies who are also here. And actually, my new cooking show is named after them. It's Little Paw Kitchen. So it's like Little Paw and then Kitchen. So you can find us there we'll be doing all pet stuff. So, and yes, the recipes, like you were saying. So yeah, a complete and balanced recipe, like for a turkey, like turkey, some brown rice, then you would add in some vegetables. And again, some people prefer to be grain-free, so I'll do some grain-free recipes as well. But I feed my dogs just like with the right proportion of some brown rice, I generally do. And then, I mean, the majority, you also have to have the right percentages of everything in there. So you've got to have the right amount of protein. And let's say, for instance, your dog has to have a low-fat diet. I'll be covering things like that as well. So lower fat meats, lower protein diets. There's a whole host of things out there to tweak for, for your dog. But okay, so Thanksgiving. You know what you could do for Thanksgiving, actually? So let's say you've done your turkey. I wouldn't give your dog like the skin, because you're most likely to have that seasoned with like lots of herbs or spices or whatever. Generally not too good for the dogs to have that. So, but once you've kind of cut into your turkey, sliced it up, and there's, the bit around the bones, there is a lot of meat. There's probably so much meat that's thrown away, and I hate food waste anyway. So you'll be surprised if you take off the bits for you, and then if you go and just like really just get everything else off the carcass that isn't heavily seasoned or drowned in oil, maybe you deep fried yours, I don't know. So it's that kind of scraps is good. And you could add that into, let's say you are preparing your sweet potatoes, or maybe you're making a sweet potato pie. I would say don't give sweet potato pie to your dog, because it's full of sugar and butter and everything else, all the good stuff.
Right.
But keep some aside. So you're peeling and chopping some potatoes and potatoes, carrots, what else? You got some green beans. Green beans are great too. That stuff can all just be, when you're preparing your meal, just keep a handful aside and put it all in a big bowl. And then what you could do is just literally put that in a pan of water, boil up all those vegetables together, just by themselves, plain water, no salt, don't add anything else. And then basically just mush that up, throw in some turkey on top. And that in itself would be a really, really healthy Thanksgiving doggy dinner. It wouldn't necessarily be complete and balanced, because I'm just like winging it there and just telling you some good ingredients that are healthy for dogs. If you wanted to make it complete and balanced, you'd have to measure everything firstly, and then you'd probably most likely have to add in like a supplement powder and oils to make sure that they're getting all the right omegas and all that stuff. So, but as like a topping, as something as a fun treat a nice bit of Thanksgiving dinner. I would avoid the gravy too, because that's kind of got flour and extra bits in. But
one thing I've kind of experimented with myself in recent weeks is, and since we talked, I was like, I could be doing a little bit more. And I've kind of, instead of, to make it a little easier on myself, I've gotten freeze-dried, patties and things like that. And then, switch that in to say like, oh, okay, today we can do beef and brown rice with, some broccoli, or, like if, you're not going to go through and, comb the carcass of your turkey, or maybe you deep fried it or something, you could buy like a freeze-dried turkey and, put that in with water and some fresh vegetables. And,
absolutely.
And in a lot of those cases, the freeze-dried diets, they are supplemented, and so they can look for it on the label, but if it says complete and balanced, that's a quick win, easy way to change up your pet's diet, get those rotational benefits, and I think it was not anything I'd heard of before, but I as we were doing some of this research, I heard people like, yeah, there are these studies out there that show, that you should be changing up your pet's protein, and even changing up the brand of food that you're giving them on a fairly regular basis, because you're going to find, different supplement, and different, manufacturing processes and additives from the different brands. And obviously the proteins in and of themselves, exposing your dog to different proteins, again, it just promotes a healthier animal. So I love
Yeah.
this idea of, giving people recipes, and, whether you're using meats that you are, leftovers, things that you did, or, um, maybe even taking the recipes and, if all you've got time for is to add water to freeze dry it, it's still, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be making a difference. And
Definitely. Yeah, no, and you're right about the whole rotational thing. And I think one good point I thought of when you were talking about that is, what if your brand that you're, let's say you just feed your pet the same brand all the time, what if they go out of business? Because that happened to our customers. So, it's like, I think it's good for them to kind of get used to like some different things, and it just it'll be easier to transition. I think, yeah, it just helps with all their kind of system to have all those like different nutrients and just to break things down for them. So yeah, that's good. Hey, can your dog hear my dogs? No, I just saw your dog in me.
I've got you on
Oh,
my
you had
headphones,
headphones,
so I don't
right?
think she
Yeah.
can hear. But
Okay, good.
you're
She'll be like,
trying to make an appearance over there, Peony. I think most people just think she's a big black blob in the background because she
a
finds her
little
little sun
sitting
patch
area.
over there and
Oh, it's gorgeous. She's
just
good.
stays curled up.
I was
So,
hoping mine would do that right now, but they're all a bit active.
ah,
But
no, that's great. And I think it's great. Like I said, it's nice to actually have some dogs on Petworking. 'Cause I'm always trying to get Peony to make more of an appearance, but she's very content and curled up over there most of the time, which I guess that's good too.
that is good. That
Uh,
is good.
so Little Paws, when Little Paws Kitchen,
Yeah, little paw. So just little paw, not with an S, just little
Little
paw.
Paw,
Little paw
Little
and then
Paw
kitchen.
Kitchen.
Yes.
When can we expect to see some episodes?
So I have just, it's literally, there's nothing out there yet. I mean, there's like one video. Okay. So I have 0 followers. So please follow me, everybody. That would be great if you hear this and want some foodie tips. Yeah, I would start basically, I think from next week, I'm going to start the whole kind of like posting of content, and there's going to be some puppy stuff there. So if anyone's interested in just like, because I've had to raise puppies from day one, had to bottle feed and everything. So that was a real big learning experience for me. So I'll be touching notes on that. You meet the family, meet the furry family, and yeah, and just it's going to be great. And I also want people to be able to ask questions, as in like, oh, well, I feed this, what do you suggest for that? And then I can go out and ask this amazing network of people and professionals in the industry their advice as well, because I do think that this is more of it's a group effort, and it's just things are evolving here, and there are so many great people that I have had the privilege of working with, like just amazing vets and vets who also are open to more holistic approaches, like you said, with the food. And I'm just really glad that that's becoming more seen, I think, out there. So, and more accepted in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And I know we see you know for the last few years at Global Pet and Super, Stella and Chewy's do kind of the recipes at their booth.
Yeah.
And but it's funny. I only ever see those at Global Pet Super Zoo, and maybe they're in pet stores that I'm not shopping at. But I think giving people ideas to kind of bring some spice, some variety. Into their pet's life, and I love that you're kind of taking the approach that everybody's welcome, and
Oh yeah.
and fine, and I think there's ways for people to just like with any cooking show, you can adapt the recipe to the need to what you have on hand. If you don't have a certain ingredient, or you want to use freeze dried, or fresh frozen in place of a freshly cooked chicken, you can go ahead and do that. But I think it's going to be really cool to kind of see some ideas to bring culinary magic into your dog's life, and I'm excited to watch some episodes and get some ideas of some new things to feed Peony, and I bet other people will be as well.
I might even throw in some human recipes. You never know. So while you're
Well,
there,
we
right? So,
know you.
well, yeah.
Yeah, we know you've got the experience on the human side. So, um,
I was just
yeah,
thinking
that
maybe
that
we
that
could be like, yeah, what am I making for dinner and how can I make it dinner for two, you know? So I don't know. It's all work in progress right now. So, yes. So please
yeah,
come along and
and
follow
hope,
everyone.
yeah, and hopefully we see some partnerships. I think you probably have some great opportunities to reach out to some brands that are doing freeze dried or fresh frozen, and
Very
um,
good.
you know feature them in some of your
Mhm.
ingredients. Uh,
Absolutely.
that
Yeah. No,
it could be
open to all
really
that.
cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
Caroline, thank you so much. And I don't think we mentioned, but today is your birthday. So thank you so much for
Oh,
joining us on the show on your birthday.
oh,
Happy
very welcome.
birthday.
Thank
I
you.
hope you have an awesome rest of the day. And thanks for taking the time to share some recipes with us and talk about pet nutrition. As you said,
Oh,
and as we've discussed, I think, the common goal here is we all want to do the best we can for our pets, and finding, new and different ways to do that is how we keep the industry moving forward, and how we keep our pets happy and hopefully with us for increasingly longer periods of time. So
absolutely.
love
That is the
what you're
goal.
bring to the table here, and we'll look forward to that stuff on our dog's table.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on as well. And especially as I'm just kind of starting on this. So yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. We'll have to
Absolutely,
get you
and
cooking for your dog soon.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, and hopefully we'll see you out, and I'll be out in LA for Pet Connect in a couple weeks. So hopefully we can connect then. And
That would
in
be
the
great.
meantime, have a very happy birthday and a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. And you too. Happy Thanksgiving for them. Okay.
Uh,
See you soon.
all right, happy Thanksgiving,
Bye.
everyone. Take care.